Hi, I'm Annapolis Mayor Josh Cohen with your weekly video update. Today is Tuesday, July 27th, 2010, and in this update I'd like to share three announcements. One's about the Market House, one is about the city's line of credit, and the third is about the city's bar wars. With the Market House, last night I updated the City Council on where things stand with the city's negotiations. Since we held the open invitation for auditions earlier this spring, the city has been seeking additional information from two of the applicants so that we can do our due diligence, get some more data as far as the financials, everything from the electrical capacity to the layout, before we decided to settle on a finalist to begin formal negotiations. In addition, the alderpersons went on a fact-finding trip to the Easton Market. Doug Smith of my administration did as well. We've interviewed a number of people. And I'm very pleased to report that we have settled on Laird Jackson's group as the finalist to commence negotiations to lease the Market House. There are two reasons why Laird Jackson's proposal stood out for me. The first is the vision. Laird understands the Market House and recognizes its key role for the city of Annapolis, not as a revenue generator primarily, but as a community amenity, as a place where our community, with all its diversity, residents, businesses, tourists, can come and patronize because it's something that will be authentic and needs to be authentic to Annapolis, not just a food court that you can find in any shopping mall in the country. And not only does Laird have the vision, but his firm has the track record of managing successful markets, which is a niche unto itself. It's not just the same as managing a restaurant or a grocery store. A public food market is its own niche. And when you look at Belvedere Square in Baltimore, the Easton Market, the Reading Market in Pennsylvania, and other markets that Laird's firm has done, it's clear that he is truly a pro in managing public markets. And frankly, I'm very happy that he did submit a proposal. Having said that, there's a big difference between having an attractive proposal and having a solid lease that protects the interests of both parties. And above all, I'm committed to avoiding some of the mistakes of the past, because even if we're 99% confident that any proposal will work, we need to make sure the city is protected if for whatever reason it does not work out. To that end, my administration is hiring outside counsel, experts in the field of commercial lease negotiation, and even though it will cost a pretty penny up front, it will pay dividends in the end if we can avoid another costly litigation like we had with Site Realty. So the next step with the Market House is, if we are able to achieve a successful negotiation, which is a question, but if we are, then I will introduce an ordinance before the City Council, which will then go through the normal legislative process of public hearings and committee hearings before the Council finally votes on it. So that's the update on the Market House. The second update is with the city's line of credit. The city still has a serious cash flow crisis. I want to distinguish between a cash flow problem and a budgetary problem, because the budget, meaning our 12-month spending plan from July of this year through June of next year, is balanced. We've reduced expenses to the tune of more than $11 million to bring our spending plan into alignment with our revenues. And we're even projecting to end the fiscal year with a $2 million surplus, which means that even if we're off by $2 million, we'll still have a balanced budget. The problem we have right now is a much more immediate problem of lack of cash, because we have no cash in our cash reserves. Earlier this year, the City Council authorized a $10 million line of credit. Last night, I introduced a charter amendment that would allow an extra $10 million, up to $20 million. Charter amendments, even if they're adopted, do not take effect for 50 days. So I'm not asking the City Council for authority to actually borrow the money. If it gets to that point, then I will then introduce a resolution in September. But the key thing is, I and the alderpersons need more confidence in the numbers that we are getting and that we're basing these decisions on. Because frankly, the fact that I need to come back to the council now, just a couple months after passing the line of credit, calls into question all of the numbers that we're looking at. The City Council recently appointed a top-notch financial advisory commission that's going to be providing some assistance. We have a new acting city manager, Mike Malinoff, who's getting his hands around the numbers, and we're also bringing in contractual outside professional to assist our director and give him the support he needs in the finance department to provide an additional layer of review for these numbers. So between now and September, if it gets to the point where I need to borrow more money, I and the City Council and the public will have a fresh set of eyes and more information as to what the city's actual numbers are. And the third set of news is the bar wars. Last night, the Ward 1 sector study compromise that prevented any new 2 a.m. liquor licenses downtown was overturned by the City Council. I was in the minority on the vote. Alderman Israel, Alderman Arnett, and myself voted against the bill, but the council, believing that the compromise was an inequity for those bar owners who were stuck with midnight licenses, overturned the bill. Although I'm disappointed in the vote, I'm pleased that before the council voted, we had the benefit of the recommendations of the Citizens Committee to review alcoholic beverage laws, because one of my big concerns coming into office last December, knowing even that the die was cast in November when the council was elected, I wanted to avoid the council lifting the ban without a broader framework for action. Because that compromise, even though it was imperfect, was the result of a 1.5 year long grassroots process that brought together residents and bar owners and merchants, and any change to that, in my view, needed to be the result of a similar process. So the council lifted the ban on new 2 a.m. licenses, but every member of this council is committed to taking the ball and running with it in terms of the recommendations that the Crabble Committee gave us. We have a tremendous framework for action. It requires additional review, both for fiscal impact, for implementation issues. It requires the liquor board, the police department, planning and zoning, state legislature in some cases. So there's a lot more work to be done. But at least the city council acted with its eyes open in terms of being aware of the many issues that are all linked together. So that's the update for this week. The announcement about a positive new direction for the Market House, me requesting the City Council to authorize borrowing more money, as well as a repeal of the cap on new 2 a.m. licenses downtown. Our next meeting is going to be this Thursday afternoon at 4:30, which is a special meeting just to hear testimony and vote on the charter amendment. Other than that, the council is scheduled to be on recess in August, so unless a special meeting is called, our next regularly scheduled meeting will not be until the second Monday in September. As always, you can reach me by calling 410-263-7997. You can email mayor@annapolis.gov, and you can visit my blog, mayorcohen.com, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching.